Stages for ethical deliberation. All of us have made an uneasy decision at one time or another. Uneasy because there is always a but, something that we cannot solve and that will cause harm and that we would rather avoid. When was the last time you had to face a difficult decision? This process can help you make ethically justified decisions when dealing with personal and professional life issues and dilemmas. It includes 4 steps, although they do not necessarily have to be followed in this order. Step 1. Analyze what principles and duties are at stake. There are principles and duties that we must always and in all circumstances take into account when making a decision. Human rights, universal values such as freedom or moral aspects. When we face an ethical dilemma or problem, we must ask ourselves, what ethical principles should I be guided by in this case? What rights may be violated? Which values are in play? Am I faced with actions that are unequivocally wrong? Step 2. Take into account the specific circumstances of the case. There is no general rule that applies in all cases. Why? 1. Because circumstances can change the meaning of actions. For instance, there is nothing wrong with hoarding food, but it is not acceptable to do so in the event of a starvation. 2. Because the same right can be guaranteed in different ways. A ruler may recognize that all citizens have a right to decent housing, but that right may be fulfilled by different ways of action. 3. Sometimes principles or duties collide. What should governors prioritize, freedom or safety? The answer depends on the circumstances. Consider the foreseeable consequences of each of the actions you may take and weigh the means and goals. Which decision produces the greatest good and the least harm? Which one has the greatest respect for human rights and dignity? How can I implement it so that the damage is as minor as possible? Step 3. Make the necessary adjustments. Once you have made a preliminary decision, you can still do 2 things. Reduce and compensate for any ethical damage that the decision may cause. Sometimes it is good to start by at least acknowledging them honestly. An ethical crisis is also an opportunity for improvement. Propose changes at a personal, institutional, or social level so that the dilemma does not recur or does not occur with the same harshness. Step 4. Change the perspective. Finally, ask yourself questions like these. Am I making the choice my ideal friend, entrepreneur, employee, lawyer, citizen would make? Is this a decision consistent with the values I was brought up in and that serve the good of society? These questions will help you to confirm or rethink the outcomes previously achieved. If you face a dilemma, make reasoned decisions that consider ethical implications and are consistent with what you believe is right or wrong.